Hey, what's up? I just finished watching the movie The Road from 2009, and it's an amazing movie, really, especially if you're a prepper. And yes, I guess I am a prepper. I'm not one of these crazy preppers that is going to appear on the show Doomsday Preppers and have like 50,000 varieties of seeds from every kind of plant and throwing them into a duffel bag and like on a 2-minute timer because I need to get out or whatever. I'm not that type of prepper, and I'm not prepping for anything in particular, but rather just for the things that we can't anticipate, like what if the power goes off for 3 days or, God knows what, right? So, yeah, I am a prepper, and I think that anyone who is a prepper should watch that movie. And more importantly, we're probably faced very often with questions from loved ones, friends, or family. Why do you do the things that you do? These sort of semi-obsessive things that seem to have no place in the modern functioning system that we live in. You can call a number and get a pizza delivered. Push a button, get your food. But what if that system goes away, right? And what if it goes away big time, and you're left with something that doesn't resemble anything close to what you've known and appreciated your entire life? So that's what The Road is really about. Is there's some kind of a disaster that's happened, and you don't really know what it is, honestly. And does it really matter? I've seen that 2012 movie with John Cusack a few years back, and I remember thinking what a stupid movie that was, because they attempt to really explain what the disaster is to a huge extent. It's like, there's earthquakes, there's tornadoes, there's tsunamis, blah, blah, blah. It's like everything happens at the same time. It's like, what is that about? And they're trying to like escape in a spaceship or something. What a stupid movie. With probably 10 times the budget of what this movie had. But the disaster, as I said, it's not really known what it is. But, the world is barren, it's cold, there's no plants, there's no food, there's cannibalism going on. It's about a man and his son traversing the United States, trying to get to the coast and find something of salvation if they can. So there was a few bullet points from the film that I want to cover and relate them to my own preparedness, survival skills, and there's some areas that I feel like I've addressed fairly well, but other areas that I'm not so well prepared. And this film asks a lot of hard questions, and if you really think about it and sort of relate it to your own life and ask yourself, how prepared am I given what I just saw? I think a lot of us are going to be coming up short, so it's just kind of a wake-up call. Okay, so first category I want to talk about is food, okay? So in terms of my own preparedness, I do have some stored food, maybe 2 to 3 weeks kind of thing at best, after which I'm going to be pretty hard up. I'm not a hunter. I don't know much about fishing or trapping, any of that stuff. I don't know about gathering wild edibles. That's a highly neglected area of my own personal preparedness and something that I know I have to work on. Next year, definitely, I'm going to get into fishing. I'm going to, perhaps learn about trapping, all that kind of stuff. I think it's very important being able to produce food and live off the land. Easy said, very hard to do. In the film, they're constantly looking for food. The boy and his father, they're the good guys. They don't eat other people, but that's what pretty much everybody else is doing. There's all these cannibals in the movie because they don't have any food anymore. They used everything up very fast. Everybody knows, or a lot of people, if you're watching this video, you probably know, within 72 hours, the grocery store shelves will be barren. Things work on such a tight, integrated, efficient web of supply chains now that the grocery stores, they don't keep storage in the back anymore. The back is, where they cut the cardboard boxes and they bring everything out front. Everything is so hyper efficient. They order a new case of soup when they run out or whatever. It's like it'll get delivered to them the next day or 3 days later or whatever. But 72 hours after a major disaster, the food will be gone. And now it's up to you. So, extend that example out to 6 months or a year or whatever, you can picture how it's going to go down. Okay, so value system. That's another thing from the film that's very important. Because what do you do if you're starving and you see a little kid eating a cookie and there's nobody else around? Do you go over and steal the cookie from the little kid and who cares if he cries or not because you're hungry? Or do you restrain yourself and say, okay, well, I'm not going to hurt other people in order to help myself? And that's something that I think the whole good and evil thing is very sort of prevalent in the film to some extent. And I don't believe that there is an absolute good or an evil. But if I was to say that what, sort of tips the scales and takes us from neutral to bad is if you do something consciously that you know is going to hurt somebody else and you do it anyways. I'm not talking about being insane. Those people can't help themselves because they don't know what they're doing. I'm not talking about something that you do accidentally. I'm talking about that what you do or what you're going to do is hurting somebody else and you just do it anyways. Cannibalism would be a very good example. You're killing other people in order to feed yourself. So the value system is very important in the film. The boy and his father, they often talk about the fact that they're carrying the fire, okay? And what I take that to mean is it's sort of a figurative thing, but I think it means that they're carrying with them the value system. They know what it means to be human and civilized. They have not forgotten like other people have. People who have become more primitive perhaps, turned into animals almost, and just, it's a free-for-all kind of thing, like a Mad Max, just take whatever you can kind of deal. Okay, so the will to live, that's another important aspect of the film. And I do believe that survival is built on sort of a pyramid. I've read this before and I'm going to restate it here for those who don't know. But I believe that the will to live is the base of the survival pyramid. Everything depends on that. If you don't have that mental toughness, if you don't want to live, to endure, and to survive, nothing else matters. It doesn't matter what kind of knife you have or gun or whatever. If you can't deal with adversity and, have that mental toughness, nothing else matters. So build upon that knowledge and skills, things that you've learned, through reading, research, practice, whatever. And then the very top of the survival pyramid would be your toolkit. What kind of knives do you have? What kind of guns? What kind of tools? Whatever. And that's really the smallest part. That so much of the survival community online is based on shopping and acquiring tools, knives, whatever, reviewing products. But so little of it is based on knowledge, skills, and mental toughness, which I think is very important. So how that applies to the film is, I would say the man and his son are extremely tough mentally. Like, they have the will to live. The mother does not. The mother gives up, very early on. All she wants to do is kill herself. She can't endure this horrible situation that they're in. I won't kind of spoil it for you, but I mean, she doesn't do very well and she gives up. So I think a lot of people would probably do the same thing, especially in the modern civilization that we're living in that has a huge basis on technology. A lot of people probably, if they had to go without their iPhone for a day, would feel very upset mentally. What if their iPhone never worked again? What if it fell on the ground and broke and you couldn't replace it? There's probably a lot of things like that. That if people had to do without certain things in civilization, or a culmination of all the comforts they have, they would be very unable to proceed, kind of thing. Weapons. So I live in Canada, and weapons here are very restricted. You're not supposed to be using weapons for self-defense. Firearms are very restricted. I've never owned a gun before. I've never fired a gun before. I've fired a BB gun, but I don't really think that counts. And I don't want to change the system. I know a lot of people who are watching this are probably Americans, and all the power to you. I love America, it's great, but I wouldn't want to replicate the constitutional basis you guys have for carrying weapons. I don't want all the guns in Canada. I think we're better off without them. That being said, that's under the current circumstance, under the rule of law. ROL, as None Fancy has coined it, under WROL, which I'll refer to just for simplicity's sake. But that's basically when the shit hits the fan, when there's a disaster and the police are no longer in charge. Under WROL, that's a totally different situation because you don't have the justice system, you don't have anybody enforcing fairness or justice. If you meet somebody in a dark alley, there's nobody else around, you're carrying a bag of food and that person's hungry and they have a gun, guess who's going to be getting the food, It's as simple as that. And in the film, the father and the son, they have a revolver with them. And I guarantee you that revolver is the only thing between them and a bunch of evil cannibals kind of thing, That's broad stroking it a little bit, but if they didn't have that gun, there wouldn't be a movie. Like, it was very important, and that really is the only justice left, because there are people out there that you cannot reason with. Those people can't hurt you right now, because if they do, they'll get caught by the police and yada yada yada. But if that is not an option anymore, what's stopping those people from doing good people harm? Nothing, except your own ability to defend yourself. So that being said, I don't know, it makes me think about my own system. Like, I've got like a baseball bat, I've got knives, I've got pepper spray, bear spray actually, but I don't own a gun. So I mean, if really bad things happen, I feel like I would be at a disadvantage because I don't have that capacity. Something I might look into in the future, but to be determined. The last thing I'm going to mention before my closing remarks is just the sickness and disease aspect of things. I believe that good health is very important. I try to exercise regularly, drink lots of water, eat healthy, lots of fiber in the diet, etc. So I believe that you're your own best, sort of counselor of good health. Your doctors, your dentists, etc. Those people can help you when something goes wrong. But in terms of maintenance, day-to-day choices, that's all on you. So take care of your health, because I think if there is a long-term disaster, the people who are going to kick the bucket first are the ones with major health problems that are on like life support, daily medicine is required, or if they go off that, they're going to have major problems. Those people, sorry to say this, but they're going to be in bad shape if the medical system goes away. There's probably like a lot of gray area in there. There's people with varying degrees of good health, but all I can say is take care of your health, because if you have lingering medical issues, if you've got some cavities in your teeth, get it dealt with. I know it sucks, definitely, but it's a lot better than having to, deal with it after the fact, right? Okay, so concluding remarks, it is a difficult film to watch. It's kind of depressing in certain ways. Like, I've got a good friend who's seen it as well, and he's into prepping, and he doesn't want to watch it again because it is depressing, and I hear that definitely. It's very thought-provoking. I don't know how you could watch that movie and not think seriously about your life and what you would do in a very difficult situation. Be thankful for what you have, and be prepared. That's all I can say. So after watching that movie a few times now, I saw it maybe a year ago, saw it maybe 3 months ago, and I also watched it today with my girlfriend. It definitely brought a lot of thoughts into my mind. Just wanted to share those with everybody else and encourage you to go out and watch that movie. Let me know what you think. If you've seen it before, did it mean anything to you? Do you think that's a realistic portrayal of how things would go down in that type of situation? Like, for me, I think that's very realistic. So I'd love to hear what other people thought about the movie and if it did anything to motivate you in your own prepping in your life. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.